there was a lot of negativity surrounding Trent Alexander-Arnold's performance. It's interesting actually. Match the Day's analysis, they went 99% or 9 times out of 10 he
and
got,
then showed
the one instance where he actually got back and tackled Dalla, and that was the one that was stuck in my mind when I was thinking about whether he'd had a bad game or not. Was that I remembered him getting back and doing the one really good thing in front of me.
It's because he's not in the screen or not in 20 yards of most of it. Paul. That's
still at the halfway line.
But look, it would be remiss of us not to mention the wider context around it. Mm-hmm. My problem with Trent is, while this contract stuff rumbles on, he is going to have to play at an 11 out of 10 level every single week. Otherwise, people are going to accuse him of having his head turned or not being on it. I've seen Henry Winter's been discussing it. I've seen journalists, fans, all kinds. Slot's the only one who's publicly come out and said, I don't think it's distracted him at all. I just thought that the guys he was up against had a better game than him, which I think is a really good way to handle that situation. But I'll start with Chloe and then we'll move around. But do you think that's it's impossible for us to know, but it's very easy to put two and two together.
What I will say is months ago he could have shut this all up by just saying, at the moment I'm a Liverpool player, nothing's been decided yet on my future, but I'm trying to win a Premier League title. So actually, that's not even in my mind state right now. Yeah. That'll get sorted when it gets sorted, but it's in the back of my mind. Then you have Real Madrid coming and putting a 20 mil bid on the table. They do not do that unless there's some kind of positive talks or go on, you can maybe try it. Like, there's I'm not having that. Real Madrid have just decided to put a 20 mil bid on the table and get completely rejected for nothing.
Sorry, Chloe, anyone in disagreement with that?
Not at all.
I think they could.
I think it's very much for the Real Madrid playbook to do things without absolutely what they want.
I think there's only one football club that goes in for a player when they don't know whether he's coming, and it's us. Everybody else finds out whether we should make the bid first, and that's what Real Madrid have done.
They could test the water, of course.
But I think if you're Trent, then everything's just like everyone's talking. You don't want that. Like, why would you want that, right? It's your boyhood club. I'd see that as disrespectful. Yeah. Because I'm trying to win a league title with my boyhood club. It might be my last year. And at least if I give them that league title, maybe things won't be as bad as they seem, because he knows he's going to get crap no matter whether he gives us a league title or not, because he's leaving his boyhood club to go to a team who he's deemed bigger.
Who we really dislike as well.
Yes, who we dislike as well. But on that, I don't want to say it's got to him, because he's an unbelievable footballer and he'll go back to being great, in a couple of weeks. And it's maybe just one of those games. But what I will say is he hasn't helped himself out, because by not addressing it and by not shutting it up or saying something, and by doing the celebrations and things like that at West Ham, all you're doing is fueling the fire. All the media speculations on it, which means then Liverpool fans get angry with it and everything gets blown out of the water. You've then got Real Madrid putting in a bid in January when you're trying to go for a league title. Nothing's helping you, because all it's doing is gonna put your performances under so much more scrutiny. That is all it's going to do. So it's not good for you, it's not good for Liverpool, and actually, Real Madrid will buy you either way, but it's also not great if you leave after not being great in a period.
It shows a naivety of the wider situation. I don't think this is all on Trent. This can be on his management, and look at Liverpool and how they're handling the contract situation. We're part of it. Real Madrid will be a part of this, but he is under so much more scrutiny, Dan. He just is. So every time something doesn't quite go his way, there's going to. We had a little chat about it in the car. I don't know whether we heard something on the radio, or I certainly hear people say this idea of him playing as though he didn't want to get injured. Like I'm playing like he wasn't going flat out because he doesn't want to pull a hamstring or get injured. And this is where you start to get into conspiracy theory territory. But actually, the lack of information and the lack of facts and the lack of bit of public facing knowledge on this stuff is fertile soil for conspiracy, and that's what we're going to get into. We're getting into the world of body language experts coming back out again. So if he has a bad game, then people are going to accuse him of not putting a shift in. I don't know enough about it to say what was definitely on his mind and what was not on his mind, but he had a bad game on the back of everything that Chloe said there, it's not a good look at the moment.
No, far from it. And as Chloe mentions as well, the spotlight is well and truly on him, because this has been a story for quite some time now, amplified by what happened on New Year's Eve with Real Madrid making that approach. And of course, we spoke last week about the celebration and what that might or might not have meant. He'll be well aware of the fact that Real Madrid have made this, whether he wanted them to or not, whether it was a prior conversation, whether the green light had been given. So to then put in a performance like that on the back of all of this does nobody any favours at all. And it was, I think it's the worst I've ever seen him play. I'll put it out there. I just think it's the worst I've ever seen him play. Everything about it was off. He's had moments in the past whereby you think, his passing's been astray a little bit or his defender's not been, but this, from start to finish, was abysmal, more or less. And sorry, just quickly, I'm never one to question somebody's professionalism, whether the heart was in it or not. It's the last thing I want to do. But his face, I know you're talking, portrayed somebody with 1,000 thoughts in their mind, and he didn't look like he knew he was coming to go in. When he got took off, he looked broken. And I'm not hugely surprised, and whatever is going on inside his head right now needs sorting quick, because Liverpool are going for a title. Liverpool are going for other glory elsewhere. If he's going to be a part of this, he needs to sort that out, because he can't step foot on the pitch while his mind's wherever the hell it was yesterday. Can
I just say that it would have helped him? Look, he was a horrific defendant, awful. Absolutely sure. I mean, his whole performance was awful, but usually he has moments of brilliance where you go, okay, well that kind of makes up for you've got to balance it here with the good and the bad. His passing was horrendous. His work ethic, I'm so sorry, I didn't realise how bad it was, those goals inside that ground, because we're the other end to those United goals. But when you watch them back, Martinez's goal, the way he gives the ball away constantly, and by the way, in the first half, he was getting frustrated and angry with himself. And what you needed was him to either have a moment of pure, get it out, take a yellow, do something, boot a ball away, fine, whatever. But what he was doing constantly was from free kicks he was just booting the ball back to them out of anger. He was forcing things far too much and going for the exceptional pass when a simple pass could have just been done and we'd have been on it.
Well, we had this conversation in the car, Chris, and because you were talking about Andy Robertson and saying how Andy Robertson had another very Andy Robertson this season kind of performance where a lot of the stuff he did was really good, but he still had to make a few moments. Robertson's way of digging himself out is to dig in and to be more resolute and to put a big tackle in or whatever. And Trent's way of digging himself out is to produce a moment only him on earth can kind of produce. But if that's then not working for you, then it's almost impossible. You're going to look like you've had the fucking worst game ever.
Oh, he did. Yeah. It's unfortunately just the way he moves, the way he runs. It feeds into the narrative quite easily that he doesn't give a shit, because he looks quite lethargic. And when he's having a bad game, he looks even more lethargic than normal. Mm-hmm. And that's not good for every fan in there who is already in their mind questioning whether he wants to be here.
Yeah.
And you got 60,000 people wondering, does he want to be there? And you've got millions of people around the world doing the same. And you can only judge it by his body language and how much effort he's putting into the game. Yeah. And it didn't look like there was much there in body language terms, and he didn't put any effort into the game. Yeah. So for me, I think it's a really difficult one. I think, he seemed to mess up so often. Certainly for the Martinez goal, but equally, was it Martinez actually his man at the time? I don't know. Gravenberch was right there as well. There was another Liverpool player right there as well. He
gives the ball away. That leads to the goal, so that's definitely his fault.
But what I'm saying is, I think it's sometimes it's a little bit more grey than black and white. Mm-hmm. So, and what I will say is, I also think it was the worst game he'd ever played. But in that one instance, I'm not 100% sure it was just Trent that he ran off.
It's not just him.
And to be fair, I'm pretty sure that's the one where he tries a first time.
Oh, into the centre. It's terrible.
It's
terrible.
But the play goes on for 10-15 seconds before it gets to that situation. So it's not like he plays a ball. He does do one in the second half where he basically gives it away and they go on a counter.
It's from our throw-in.
The one from our throw-in, I was fuming on that one.
But the point I'm kind of making is that thing of, it spoke to the Liverpool in general and how everyone in the game seemed to approach that. We're 2-1 up Just dig in, lads. Just, you don't need the games. The game's won.
Yeah.
If you're a brilliant football team, you're 2-1 up at home. I don't care who you're playing. That game's won, provided everyone gets behind the ball when they're meant to. Dig in, do your solid duties first. And it didn't. And that was the problem with Trent, is that, again, because this is what makes him the fantastic player that he is his mindset is, I'm a match winner and I've got the skill set. And it's not just him, he's not selfish. He's empowered. Arne Slot empowers him, and he empowers Virgil van Dijk, and he empowers Alisson to do things that most clubs don't allow their goalkeeper, centre-half and right back to do, because they're good enough to do them. And not many players in our team get that level of freedom to be that creative. So that is his job. But I did think there was something psychologically in him that he could have taken ownership and gone, because I think his defensive performance has been great this season. He just needed one of them. He just needed to put 20 minutes in of, I'm going to play as a right back here, and we're going to win this 2-1, and we're going to come off the pitch, we're going to be singing, you're going to win the league, all this kind of stuff. But instead, it was a very, well, I'm going to play my game instead of playing the game that I think the game needed from him. But Trent was not the only one.
Far from it. There's been a lot of micro-analysis of Trent because of what we're talking about in terms of the question marks over his future. And I've not really subscribed to it at all, because I think he's played largely pretty well. I think defensively he's been sound as well. But for the first time yesterday, I got it. I understood why people are thinking the way they're thinking. I've not ever questioned anybody's commitment to the cause. For the first time yesterday, I looked at Trent and went, I don't understand what this is. I don't understand what this performance is. And also, it was noticeable, you might not have seen it because you're obviously inside the ground, Virgil van Dijk was livid.
Mate, I was saying in the car on the way home, there was about 5 or 6 occasions where he was fuming at him. There was one point where Virgil was screaming at him so much, Alisson went over and tapped him on the Trent on the shoulder, like, it's all right, mate, carry on, because I think he was getting that much shit.
And this is the vice captain, by the way, and experience, been around for quite some time now, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, he's not a kid. He should know. He should take responsibility of his own performance, and none of that happened. It was lacking, and we improved markedly when Conor Bradley's a very good up and down conventional right back who's got quality as well to go with it. But Trent, you just said it there, Trent could have done that. Trent can be that guy. Why does he not do it? Why does he not see the game state and go, I'm just going to do what you just said there?
I genuinely think he just lost his head in the game. I think he lost it in the first half.
Is that allowed?
You can have a bad game.
You can have a bad game.
Of course, anyone can have a bad game. I think it's his worst game of his career that I can remember, obviously.
There's been a few at Old Trafford over the years.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I think defensively, this was all over.
This was everything, wasn't it? So I think had the Real Madrid stuff not been going on, and he's a Liverpool player until the end of the season, all of us would be sat here, it's one bad game in 9.5 years.
Yeah, I agree. Do
you know what I mean? But it is going on, so you can't.
Yeah. And it's going on big time as well. It's not like the other two. Even the other two, you could sort of park it and go, the future's uncertain, but we're not sure. But this Trent one is heightened.
It's back page every single day. Yeah. Hours upon hours of people talking about it every single day.
And then he puts that performance
in.
Thoughts, people watching at home. Again, I can't be asked to get like super angry about stuff, because if he just plays well in the next game and the game after that and the game after, it won't matter. Whether I'd like him to sign the contract.
It's fucking Manchester United. That's the one. If there was one game a year or two, that's one of them. Where you pick it up and you show
Manchester United.
And you show the fact that you give a shit. And it's Liverpool against Manchester United in the biggest rivalry, and you can go 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League, and it's at fucking Anfield. That's the game you put it in. You're just going to turn it on for one.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Steven Gerrard just used to get sent off in them games.
But at least he should be cared.
I'd rather you overcompensate than show absolutely not.
At least we knew we were fucking playing with 10 men when Gerrard did it. It's fucking hell.
You're right, in that was the platform to actually show your heart. No one needs showing what a fabulous technician he is. That was the game to go, I'm here, regardless of what's happening, because he's done it. I don't hate how he's approached the contract stuff. It's behind closed doors. I've never done this in public. I'm doing it. I'm keeping my counsel on it.
Apart from when he does this on the pitch.
Yeah, but I don't mind that, let him, let him, whatever. But that was the game. That was the game where you go and you cover every blade of grass, or you don't. You cover your little area, and you cover it to the nth degree.
The problem was he did cover every blade of grass. We needed him to do that.
He covered the halfway line when they were in through an own goal so many times.
Do the hard yards, run that extra mile, get lit, fall off that pitch. Whereas as it was, he can't. You could, when the Bradley comes to the touchline, he's looking, going, and it's a couple of minutes before the ball goes out of play, so he knows it's coming, and he has one little run into midfield, and he's obviously thinking, this is my last chance to try and make something happen before it go off, and he gets fouled, doesn't he, around that. And you go, and that's it. It was a bad game, and it's on him now, because the contract stuff, I think, will exist, but putting that to one side for a sec, he's a Liverpool player. Unless Real Madrid put an offer on that Liverpool can't refuse, he's going to play the rest of the season for Liverpool. What happens after that happens after that, but he can't put a performance like that in again, because we won't have it. And ultimately, Conor Bradley will be sat there licking his lips and going, if I can stay fit, mate, I'm going to be getting minutes here, because Conor Bradley will go and do that. Like, he is a heart on the sleeve, run all day, run through brick walls kind of footballer, and Trent's got to consider that, because every time Bradley's going to come on the pitch, he's going to run harder than he is as well.
The fundamentals.
I don't think Trent won a single duel, did he? In 86 minutes, Conor Bradley won his first with coming on inside.
I think we only won 2 tackles all game, so that says a lot about all 11 players.
I mean, Robbo also equally as bad in terms of winning duels, and actually he gets beat for their second goal with the run. I mean, once again, it comes from that right-hand side of ours, but Curtis Jones had a really bad game as well. Like, there are many players who had a bad game, but the thing is there's nothing around you can in isolation go, yeah, he's been good though for the rest of the season, overplayed or whatever, or like maybe Don would have actually started this game but he's had to go again. With Trent, it's like 100 other things before you get to that point, and that is the problem that he's got.
I say it again, sorry, like his head looked battered. We will never know, and I'm fully aware of that. I'm aware that I'm saying things that I'm not aware of the knowledge of, but he did when he came off that pitch. Whether it's just the performance and he was annoyed and frustrated by the fact that he hadn't been able to influence the game, or he knew he'd had a bad day, but he didn't look.
I think Slot agrees with you, because I think that's why Slot comes out and says what he says, because I think that's management, isn't it? Of
trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And just shutting it down from an internal point of view. Yeah. And I think that's good management from Slot, but I'm not sure he believes the words that he said. But I do think it's part and parcel because of the body language of Trent when he comes off.
And it comes down to it again. Slot will give the benefit of the doubt to the player, because he's there and he can't comment. No one knows what was in Trent's head. We're speculating, and we all forget sometimes that none of us are elite sports people. And honestly,
I don't elite. Trust me. When I walk up the stairs, I know I'm not a fucking elite sports person.
I don't think any of us understand the difference in mentality that those guys have, the precision like focus that they have for what they do. Dan's probably got it more than most of us. But to that thing of like Slot is not going to come out and speculate on that stuff. So I think it's fair to him to look at it and go, yeah, look, these guys play better. And we've said this for years. We critique our players more than we should do at times, because nobody ever goes, when Mo Salah skins like 5 defenders and scores, we don't think about the defenders that have skinned them. We just think it was great play by Mo Salah.
I've seen 4 goals this weekend alone that have gone either in the build-up to or before it gets in the back of the net through somebody's legs. And not one person has mentioned how poor defending it is, but when it's Andrew Robertson, it's mentioned a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Because we do. We just love to critique our own and criticise our own players. And look, it's fun to have the conversation around it, but it does get taken too far sometimes. It's on Trent now anyway. Trent's got to start putting the performances in. They need to get that cleared up one way.
When does he play next?
Probably. Depends how fit Bradley is.